Hey Hetty, how's it going? My name is Bennjipie. I'm not someone that wants to complain all the time, but in this scenario, I think I'm gonna need to, just for the sake of it. Because honestly, Ballistic is not a good game mode. It's promising, and there is a lot of talent that probably went behind it, but it's not showing. This isn't a case of me playing this game mode every single day or anything. I have taken literally like 3 months away from ever touching it, and every time I come back and play for even 30 minutes, I realize why I stopped. This game mode is genuinely garbage, and shouldn't have been made. Honestly, wouldn't have been opposed to them just completely removing it or replacing it with something else, because the mode just doesn't work. Now, it works in the sense of I can queue and get into a game and play against people, doesn't really matter the skill because they don't really factor that in at this point. But this mode has 5,000 players on average in my, of what I've seen. I'll queue in, I'll start up a game of, regular BR, I look at the other modes and I kind of see what they're sitting at, and I consistently see Ballistic at 5 to 6K, which is embarrassing. There is only ranked, there's no non-ranked mode, so you have even less people playing because they think that ranked is going to be even sweatier when it doesn't even matter, it's just a shit show. The mode doesn't feel like Fortnite, it feels like an example of something that you can do within Fortnite. I sat down and played for about an hour and a half, an hour 45, or maybe even an hour, I don't know, on stream, and the entire time I wanted to rip my eyes out. This game should not have been released. At this point, it should have been released now, but the maps that we have already gotten are a joke. There's no textures around the map, so people are actually able to blend in with superhero skins because, go figure, it's gray and they can put the gray skin on. There's a lot of people doing that. And the mode just doesn't function well. And this is the issue that kind of happens for me when it comes to talking about these other game modes. Now, I do want to really play Lego and go through it and then make a whole video about it because I have a good idea that the mode is actually good, but in every other scenario, typically the modes are lacking. If you tell me to say some good things about Ballistic, I don't have much that I can say because a lot of it is a buggy, disgusting mess. And I know my thoughts are going to be a little bit all over the place. I don't have a full script for this video. I just put some bullet points and I needed to talk about this. One of the main issues is that this mode doesn't try to be anything other than a copy of games that exist within the same genre. CSGO and Valorant, you even have Siege if you want to compare it to that. And the most notable or comparable thing is Call of Duty Search and Destroy. It's basically all the same thing. Fortnite Ballistic doesn't try to be itself, it tries to be what other games are doing and create a template off of that. All the weapons are too realistic, they don't look like Fortnite weapons. Granted, they were made within Fortnite, but they are not about Fortnite guns, like the regular pump or the tactical shotgun or anything like that. The abilities are very basic, and yes, they have added some new ones, but they aren't really anything that screams Fortnite. It screams a shooter. And if you're not going to factor in all the things of it not being really about Fortnite or anything like that, and you're just going to try and look at it for being the tactical shooter that it is, let's talk about it a little bit. Desync, getting shot around corners, all that sort of stuff, very apparent, very annoying, very terrible. The same issue can be said about your perspective on where you're looking and how your camera is able to view your environment. I could be standing around a corner, but technically my body's peeking out and I can't see it because when I look at the ground, I can't see my actual body or where I'm facing. Usually the camera kind of dictates where your body is. It seems as almost if you're too big and the camera is just too small. Something they actually did with the abilities was make it so that they're permanent. Everyone has them and you just have 2 uses at the start of the match and then you get them back after every round. You don't have to pay for them anymore, which means you're saving a lot more money, which means you can always have the guns that you want. And the one gun that everyone uses quite consistently is the Hyper SMG. You might see in gameplay here that I'm using it. It's because it's the best gun in the game. It costs very little in comparison to any other weapon and does a shit ton of damage with a reticle that is very accurate. The recoil is not that bad. The weapon is just too good. And speaking of weapons, for some reason they thought it would be fun to add in the blaster rifle or the pistol from Star Wars. I understand doing it, but they don't even let you trade it out for the pistol that was originally in there. So now we're down a weapon just for the sake of it. And on top of that, this blaster pistol can't actually aim down sights, even though it has a scope right on the side of the gun. The matchmaking for Ballistic is actually terrible. I have been put with a bronze and an Unreal player. I've been queued against that same Unreal player. I have been given teammates that have no idea what they're doing and they are a higher rank than me. The ranking system in general is flawed, and that has to do with more or less Fortnite and just, all together. But still, I should not be queuing against an Unreal player when I'm barely getting out of plat. And something that I talked about that some people tried to critique or bring up when I talked about how, Fortnite was adding too much in that whole video. I talked about the movement and how it really doesn't make sense, because for a tactical shooter like this and how Valorant and CSGO is, if you're trying to copy those games, you're not really doing it that well. But if you're trying to be the other games, like more or less Valorant with the one character that has the ability to slide, you're messing that up too. You can infinitely sprint in this mode. You can mantle on top of everything. You can sprint, jump, slide everywhere. It's annoying. And you can aim down sights as you do that. That is not tactical. That type of movement belongs in a Call of Duty type of respawn mode, like a TDM, capture the flag, domination, or any of those modes. It works perfectly for that. It does not work for a tactical shooter about shooting heads and trying to stay alive. Another issue I've seen is that shotguns are just really good. It doesn't matter if it's the pump or the auto shotgun. If you have the impulse grenade, you are going to get in someone's face and they can't do anything about it because they can't do enough damage fast enough. Granted, I think shotguns can be okay, but shotguns aren't really balanced in the way of a tactical shooter. It's balanced in the sense of Fortnite, where the range is actually much further. So you can pump someone for way more damage than you should be able to, because they should have to be point blank for you to one-shot them. It's just much easier to do it in this mode because the range is increased. In my personal opinion, just an idea to throw out there to try and sort of save the mode, Ballistic should be like the title of the game. It should be like how Call of Duty is called Call of Duty, and you should give it other game modes. I don't think this 5v5, 6v6, whatever, I think it's 5v5, I actually don't remember, shooter, tactical shooter, one life mode, it just doesn't work, especially for the player base that you have. You can get rid of ranked, just make it a casual mode, make it so that there's just a couple maps, revamp them. I don't care what you do. Make it so it's just, a respawn mode, TDM, I don't care. Because this game mode doesn't feel tactical. It ends up just becoming TDM anyways because most people don't know how to plant the goddamn bomb. They have enabled the ability to play on a test server in the actual game, which is pretty cool, but it's useless because there's only like 400 people on it at a time, and they end up just putting the maps that are in the test server into the ranked mode, so it defeats the entire purpose. And I know there's someone out there that's probably thinking, oh, but what if I only want to play on that new map? You're not going to want to because you play it once and you've already figured it out. And speaking of low player counts and stuff, you get constant levers all the time. The amount of times I have started in a 4v5, 3v5, and it just dwindles down, or even people on the other team start leaving, is insane. And especially, it is very annoying when you start the game, it says 9 out of 10, and it just doesn't give you an extra person or cancel the match. It just puts you in anyways. And the issue that I've noticed is it'll put better players on the other team, and it's impossible to win if I die because my team can't play. They don't know how to use their thumbs. Now you can say that's that's just unlucky matchmaking. That's gonna happen, okay, but it happens very consistently. When you're putting players who are in gold, in bronze, silver, next to platinums and diamonds and higher, it just doesn't work. People play differently, and your matchmaking needs to basically compare to that. And I understand not wanting people to sit in a queue for 10 minutes. I'm not saying it needs to be perfect of all diamonds. You're going to have a little bit of a spread. But when I'm sitting at plat and you put a bronze on my team, that just shouldn't be possible. And one issue with people leaving is the leaver penalty for Ballistic is quite literally the biggest joke I've ever seen. I can leave a Ballistic game and get a 1-minute penalty for just ranked Ballistic. If I left, I'm probably not going to play it, and you don't get a penalty for anything else. The obvious idea is make it so that anything that's made by Epic, you can't queue into because you left a ranked game. It is actually a joke that you can leave, completely fuck over everyone else, and you barely get a single punishment besides, a little bit negative on your percentage for your rank. And another thing that doesn't help is the surrender feature is basically useless because people don't even know how to use it. I've had a match where it started as a 3v5, I enable the surrender feature, and no one does it because they don't know how it works. This mode, genuinely, if it's gonna keep being this way of them adding 1 map, 2 maps, and they're still going to be called shell maps and not really get fleshed out ever, they're barely gonna add content, and they're barely gonna do anything for the game, they might as well just can it. There's no monetization behind this. You could just cancel it. I don't care. The mode is not good, and it's a fake way for people to be able to hit Unreal and get the cosmetics for that. Genuinely, if you made it so that there was rewards per mode, like an Unreal wrap or something, because you can see that on your gun, or even adding charms, I don't care. Just do something to suffice having Unreal in that game mode in comparison to the main BR. And granted, the rank system is flawed, okay? It's mostly the rank system, but at the same time, Ballistic is just hot dog shit, and it's never been good, and I've always said this. I do not like this mode. I was going to try and hit Unreal on stream just for the fun of it. It's not even fun enough to do that. It's not interesting enough. It sucks. It's terrible. I hate it. I don't want to talk about this game mode anymore. I'm never going to refer to it ever again. See ya.